If you had a trip to go skydiving and you knew there's a 1 in 1,000 chance, would you say, you shouldn't have to have a backup chute? What's the matter? Don't you trust me for putting your chute together with just one chute? No, you don't hear that, but you do hear it about prenups. I don't know if you've heard about this new Barbie movie that came out. Apparently this young lady went and the father got tasked with going to the toy store to buy a new Barbie. And he didn't know, so he went and talked with the salesperson and said, well, I need to get my daughter a new Barbie. What should I get? Well, we have the Dr. Barbie for $29.99. We also have Beach Barbie for $29.99. And we have Divorced Barbie for $349.99. And it's like, why is it $349.99? Well, because it comes with Ken's house, Ken's car, all of Ken's furniture, and half of his 401k. So divorce is a big financial problem, and I don't know if it's something that we're helping our clients and our clients' kids with enough. I saw and looked up some statistics, even just this morning, a couple of them. After these lockdowns, there was a 34% increase in divorce. 34%. I saw after the lockdowns ended, and my clients started coming in, the clients with adult children, saying, I just didn't realize how bad my son-in-law or daughter-in-law is. I think my kid might be headed for a divorce. I need to make sure that if I'm leaving anything to my children, that it ends up going to my children, not to that horrible person they married. And after they're gone, it has to go to the grandchildren. I don't even want my child to have an option of leaving it to their spouse. We did a bunch of asset management trusts and IRA trusts there. And on top of that, one of my really, really good friends growing up, the one who walked my wife down the aisle, he ended up in a divorce. And so when we're talking about estate planning, we're typically looking at it from the parents in securing something going down to the next generation. But what can we do to help beforehand? And so these were all questions that were coming up, and it really got the start for the next book idea for me, which I finally got and put together, the Divorce Firewall Strategy.
If you think it's important for educational videos like this to get out there, then please help us out by subscribing to the channel.
And it's a way to do protective planning ahead of time, not parents for inheritance to kids, but for the kids to put in place themselves, so that they're putting in all of these protective provisions. One of the big ones that I'm going to be talking about tomorrow is a domestic asset protection trust, where you can put your own assets in and protect it, not just from divorce, but lawsuits and other things. So I often heard a lot of pushback, even just on premarital agreements. So here are some statistics. Did you know that 40 to 50% of marriages end in divorce? 50% is what goes around. Did you know, though, that 1 out of every 1,000 parachutes fails to deploy, which is why they have a backup parachute? 1 in 250,000 guns end up killing somebody in their own home accidentally. So it's 1 out of 250,000. Yet there are safety precautions and lock boxes and things like that. 1 in 747 chance, a 1 in 747 chance of dying in a motorcycle accident. So if you're driving a motorcycle, it's a 1 in 747 chance. But we have helmets. There's a 1 in 500 chance of your house flooding, and yet we have flood insurance. Now, if you had a trip to go skydiving and you do, there's a 1 in 1,000 chance, would you say, you shouldn't have to have a backup chute? What's the matter? Don't you trust me for putting your chute together with just one chute? No, you don't hear that, but you do hear it about prenups. 1 in 500 chance of your house flooding. Oh, you don't need to get, flood insurance because you're just betting on it failing. That doesn't make any sense to us. There's a 1 in 4 chance in any given year that you're going to lose money in the stock market. Don't diversify, put all your money into the same thing. What, you're betting on failure? You should just follow your heart and pick your stocks based on what you feel. No! We diversify and we plan ahead. Why aren't we giving that type of planning to marriage beforehand? So that's where I came up with the idea for the book, to put together a solid plan that's not just a premarital agreement. Let me tell you, it's layers of protection that you can put in place. What do you think the stats are on how many married couples actually have a premarital agreement?
0.
Only 1 in 10. Only 1 in 10. But I have no idea what the percentage is of those people who download a form from the internet, fill it in with maybe crayon, and then expect it to work 17 years later when the situation has totally changed. No. This is something where you need to take a solid look, sit down, not just with one attorney, but you each have your own attorney, come to a premarital agreement, put it together, and then you revisit it every 3 to 5 years or if the major situation changes so it stays solid and current and valid. If you're going to end up cohabitating, you need a cohabitation agreement. The expectations need to be laid out. How many people here have come across clients where if you set up a trust or someone else set up a trust and it's not funded, what good is that trust? It's not good at all. It's basically a huge expensive will. So if you're not titling your assets in accordance with that premarital agreement, or even better, putting it into a domestic asset protection trust so it stays completely off the table because you don't even have the control to distribute money yourself. And again, I'll talk about that a lot more tomorrow. All of this needs to be coordinated and looked at. With all of the risks that we try to mitigate through insurance, through planning, why would you get married if there's a 50% chance it's going to fail without trying to protect not just yourself, but everybody else? So I'm going to just give you a preview of one of the things and one of these strategies I'll talk about tomorrow. You've got a rental property. You want to keep that as separate property. You list in the premarital agreement that it's separate property. Okay? What if you end up wanting to move and live into that house with your spouse? Well, okay, you've got that house. You can put it into an LLC. If your premarital agreement says that you're going to split the rent 50-50, okay, you have that LLC inside your domestic asset protection trust, you're paying half the rent into your own house, but your spouse is also paying in half the rent. If there's a divorce, you've made money. If there isn't a divorce, you're kind of pushing and almost forcing your spouse to put money into that trust that's going to ultimately benefit your own kids. So this strategy works.